Under Democrats, wide-open borders allowing a daily invasion of illegal aliens coming from every distant corner of the world and deadly drugs like fentanyl from China is killing our loved ones. Joe Biden and the Democrats are the best business partners the Mexican cartels have ever had, boosting their billion-dollar illegal drug industry and enabling the worst human trafficking market. Joe Biden should take a lesson from his big donors in Martha's Vineyard and deport illegal aliens breaking into our land.
The left controls big media. The left controls big tech. The left controls big corporations. The left now controls big sports. Just watch the NBA. The left controls Hollywood. The left controls higher education. The left controls the White House. The left controls the House. The left controls the Senate. But the left doesn't control we the people. And we the people have had it. I mean, and in 52 days, I think we the people are going to send a message to the left and to the Democrats who've been running our country for the last 20 months. Think about this. In 20 months, I think this campaign is real simple. It's the big four issues plus freedom. And you can just see the contrast between what we had under President Trump, what we now have with Democrats running the government. But in 20 months, we went from a secure border to no border. We went from stable prices to a 41-year high inflation. We went from $2 gas to $5 gas. And maybe most importantly, we went from safe streets to record levels of crime. Not to mention what they're doing to your freedom, to your liberties, to our Constitution, to the Bill of Rights, most importantly, the First Amendment and Second Amendment liberties that we enjoy as Americans. That's what this campaign is about. You want the same old, same old? You want them attacking your liberties in those four issues? Vote Democrat. You want to change that? Vote Republican. Think about the last month. Think about the last month. In 5 weeks' time, Joe Biden raided the home of a former president, took the phone of a sitting member of Congress, called half the country fascists and extremists. Then he said to that same half the country, oh, by the way, I'm going to make you pay the student loan debt of the, quote, good Americans who vote Democrat. And just remember, if you don't like that, I signed legislation to unleash 87,000 IRS agents to come harass you, the taxpayer. He did that in 1 month's time. So this election could not be more important.
No matter what they do to me, I will endure their torment and oppression, and I will do it very willingly. They will never get me to stop fighting for you, the American people. And I will never quit because the fate of our country is at stake. I don't think we've ever had a more radicalized or dangerous time in our country. I watched Biden the other day with the red behind him, and CNN changed it to pink. There they are. Look at all those people back there. They changed it to pink because they wanted it to look better. They wanted it to look better, but it's time to finally and completely break the radical left's corrupt education cartel. Our children are captives to unhinged Marxist educators who are pushing inappropriate sexual, racial, and political material on our children from the youngest possible age. I mean, when they're 6 years old, they're learning about things that they don't want to learn about. And they always have regrets. There's such regrets later on. Who did this to me? Who did this to me? At long last, every parent in America must be empowered to opt out of the indoctrination and send their child to the public, private, charter, religious, or homeschool of their choice. In addition, we will get critical race theory out of our schools, out of our military, and out of every part of the federal, state, and local government. We will also keep men out of women's sports, so politically incorrect. To root out this appalling corruption, we need to pass historic reforms to tell the deep state, you're fired. You remember The Apprentice? Another one of our highest priorities under Republican Congress will be to stop left-wing censorship and to restore free speech in America, which we do not have. And go out and sign up now for Truth Social, which is doing great. It's hot, and it's a hell of a lot better than Twitter will ever be. Twitter's got a lot of headaches right now, folks. The radical left Democrat Party is not a 50% party within our country. I really don't believe it. They're against God, guns, oil, law enforcement, voter ID, tax cuts, regulation cuts, the Constitution, and they're against our founding fathers. Other than that, actually,
Pelosi is a warrior.
Q
movement is very real.
Now,
trust the plan.
That expression, black hat, white hat, was co-opted to describe exactly that, who's on side and who's not. Now, the Q movement kicked off decades and decades and decades ago when it was understood, and if you read your new American history, which is nothing like you thought it was, they understood there were forces within the US that understood the bad things were happening and the scope and scale of it. And we're only getting a taste of it now. And this movement, this Q movement, it's very real. It's not nonsense. It's not tinfoil hat wearing stuff. Extremely powerful forces are acting for good within the American machinery and have been for decades. What we're only seeing now, it's not dissimilar, and in fact in time frame as well, to be honest. You know what? It's just about the same. I remember hearing the story of a form of bamboo that grows 60 years underground, and then when it finally it doesn't reach the top, when it finally decides to break the surface because the roots just keep travelling laterally, and after 60 years it'll pop up and overnight you'll have a wall of bamboo. And that's what the Q movement is like. It's been working in a subterranean way for, metaphorically and literally, for 60 years. And now they're finally coming out into the light and taking out the black hats. That's the short version of it. The QAnons are the people that follow it. There's a lot of people that pretend to know what's going on. And they try to make hay, and they try to get hits and views and thumbs up and likes and the rest of it. But the fact is, it's real. And thank God for it, because without it, Australia would be facing a 50, 100-year guerrilla war to take back our nation. So they're doing what they do, we do what we do. And to be honest, folks, if you're listening, we must be worthy of their efforts, because, my God, what they are going through beggars description. It defies description. And so, folks, when I get a bit animated, it's because I hear stories like Carl does and a bunch of others of what's going on. And you can't be bothered to come to Canberra for a weekend. Seriously. I made a statement, I was asked to make a statement for Donald Trump's birthday. And it was very brief, and I said, we're aware of what the sacrifices you have made, are making, and will continue to make. And Australia has incurred a debt that we will never be able to pay, but it is one we will always remember. And those words didn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people about a month and a half ago when I said them. But when the time comes and people realise what has been done, a lot of the loudmouths out there, best you to shut the fuck up and say thank you. Not to me, but to the people who are really working hard, risking all to save our miserable, ungrateful Australian lives.
Do you know which country made TikTok? China. Do you know that China controls the algorithm of what you see? Do you know this? If you're in America and you open up TikTok, if you're in Britain and you open up TikTok, there is a specific algorithm to reach you that is not in China. If you're in China and you open up TikTok, what the Chinese government wants you to receive as youth, as people using TikTok, are people who are doing good things, achievements, youth making social enterprise, youth becoming successful in math competitions, youth becoming masters of karate, youth doing something with their life. And you are rewarded. That algorithm is that the Chinese government makes you see positive things for social development. Did you know here and in the United States, China, send you a different algorithm? Do you know what they send you? All the nonsense that you see. They want you to see girls dancing, boys and girls dancing with each other, pranks upon your parents, pranks upon people. How many pranks do you see? Yeah, I'm not saying it's not funny. Some of them are downright hilarious. But if you want to destroy a nation, destroy a generation, you make them in their mind be rewarded with the dopamine for thinking stupid things are good, thinking that this is what you're supposed to grow up doing. A large proportion of people grow up thinking that this is what life is about. But in China, they don't let their children think that.
Asked him to stop, you don't have to say where the kids go to school. Why do you say that? Because you're half white? To this he responded, y'all don't have say over my black children and where they go to school. They will not do Playboy and sex tapes. Tell your Clinton friends to come get me. I'm here.
Last week, weirdo, he's a weirdo, Mark Zuckerberg came to the White House, kissed my ass. Kissed my ass. Sir, I'd love to have dinner. Sir, I'd love to have dinner. I'd love to bring my lovely wife. All right, Mark, come on in. Sir, you're #1 on Facebook. I'd like to congratulate you. Oh, thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it. Weirdo Mark Zuckerberg confessed that in 2020, the FBI went to Facebook and the media and gave them the